Welcome to 1856 First Church, Pella, Iowa podcast. Well, good morning, Breanne. How are you today?
I'm doing well, Pastor Bob.
It's a great day, and I feel like we haven't done one of these in weeks.
It feels that way, but I think we've only missed one, haven't we?
Well, maybe something like that. I know you were on an exotic vacation down to the southern tip of Florida. How was that?
Yes, it was wonderful. It was warm and sunny. I tried to bring it back. It just wouldn't come.
You know, you brought back a golden tan, you with your cool husband with his new glasses.
Yes. He probably came back a little more tanner than I did.
Yes, well, you know, he's probably from a lineage that carries a tan better than your
absolutely
pasty white Iowa skin, right?
No, I don't go with pasty white. I go with angelic.
There you go.
Porcelain.
That's porcelain. Mm-hmm. That's much better. Well, here we are. It's 25 degrees outside, allegedly, but I think it's near zero because of the wind. Mm-hmm. And in our podcast room here at our headquarters at First Church, it's about 107 in here.
I would agree with you on that.
This is one of the warmest rooms, but what I've learned after 9 years of being at First Church, I can't really figure out the thermostats here.
I know that you cannot, and I've also wondered if it was just our hot air.
Yes, well, I have already filled this room up with some hot air, but I'm pretty sure it was warm when I walked in. Well, it's nearing winter time, of which is a little bit ironic since it's been quite cold, but tomorrow, I don't know if you know or not, but it's the shortest day of the year.
Well, that is exciting to me because then that means it's only getting up from there, right? We get more daylight, right?
We're going to start getting more daylight come Sunday. I don't think it'll be noticeable right away, but over time, it all works out. Well, it's been an exciting Christmas season.
It has.
Hey, last Sunday night, kids did a great job in their musical, right?
The musical was awesome. Grandma Millie always does a wonderful job.
Yeah, I just can't wait to what she's going to be pulling off in 5, 10, 15 years. It just gets better all the time.
I know Stephen during announcement said it was her 132nd, but she set the record straight. But still, she had a very long record of leading musicals.
She has a long run. I think he just added a number. I think it was like her 38th.
Something
totally.
Like that, yeah.
She started it back in the 70s, I think, during the Carter administration.
She did a wonderful job.
Yeah, and then Wednesday night, our kids went out caroling, blessing people in the community, and we've been doing Christmas parties at our facilities this week. We've been at the cottages, we've been at Independence Village, and this afternoon we're going over to, well, we're going to do it at Pella Manor, but it's going to cover Fairhaven East and Fairhaven West. So, yeah, it's been a festive week of Yuletide joy.
Are you wearing your jingle bells?
I don't believe I've ever worn jingle bells.
You don't jingle all the way?
Yes. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Thank you for introducing that. Yeah, well, in terms of other announcements coming up so that we can move on to the heart and core of what we're doing in this episode, which is episode 33, by the way, is this Sunday we're going to have church, 9:30.
That's right.
And we've done 3 weeks of Advent already. We've done hope, and we've done love, and we've done joy, and this week is peace.
Yes.
Yes, I think peace. Would that be a piece of pie?
I don't think that's the kind of peace we're talking about.
I don't think so either. I think we're talking about the gift that Jesus brings because he is the Prince of Peace.
I'm looking forward to that one too.
It's going to be a great
It's been a good
morning.
Series.
Yeah, good series. And we've got our Advent candle lighters again. And so we're grateful that people are doing that on a weekly basis. But then, of course, on Tuesday night, we have Christmas Eve, certainly a highlight for the year. And the weather looks like it's going to be good.
It does.
Starts at 6 o'clock.
Yes,
we need to remind people of that because it starts at 6 o'clock.
Yes, and it's a Tuesday.
And it's a Tuesday at
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, yeah. And so you can come to church, maybe have a little bit of a later meal that night, and we'll get you home in time because right after that service is over, I hear the pastor's taking off for Duluth.
I heard that, yeah.
And so we're going to hightail. We're not even going to go home. We're just going to get in the car and go and vamoose.
I'm glad the weather will be good for you. So you
I
can
hope
vamoose.
It will be good. I hope we don't get a rogue snowstorm anywhere along the way.
I hope not either for you.
Well, thank you for that, because some of us go to Key West and some of us have to go north.
I didn't go quite that south, but I was close.
Okay.
But it was nice. But what about Christmas Day?
Christmas Day, stay home.
There you go.
Stay home.
There you heard it here.
You know, it's
Stay
funny.
home.
Different churches have different traditions. So many years I was in the Christian Reformed Church. This was before I was a pastor. And we always had Christmas Day services. And I didn't like it because you're supposed to get up on Christmas morning with your pajamas on and go and open presents with your kids. But we always had to go to church. And of course, because I was the music director, we always had to have music, et cetera, and so on. So we'd always have all our traditions on Christmas Eve. So for years when we lived in California, we go to the Crystal Cathedral on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
It was great. My boys loved it because they gave out these little flashlights rather than candles that could burn the place down. So they got to go from that. We'd always go to Hoff's Hut for dinner. That was right nearby. And then we go home and we'd open all our presents. So quite frankly, on Christmas, my boys didn't care what they did because they had all their presents already. And but I was very glad when I started going to, when I became a pastor, we had Christmas Eve services. So nice to do it that way. But, you know, we have the longest traditions, and I'm jumping the gun, but because we have guests to talk about their traditions, I'll tell you about one of the traditions we used to do.
Okay.
So I was at a church where we had services at 2, 3:35, 7, and 11. So we had 5 services. It was a marathon day. Of course, my whole family didn't go to all the services. My wife did because she sang in the choir. But then after the 11 o'clock service, we decided we're not going to go home and just die in bed. Let's start a tradition. So we started going to Denny's. We'd go to Denny's. There'd be a few Denny's open in the area. And then we decided we'd bring them Christmas gifts to all the staff that was in Denny's. So we'd walk up. Well, gradually over the years that we were there almost 10 years, other people said, can we go with you? Can we go with you? So the last year we were there, I think 30 people. Can you imagine being in Denny's at it was usually about 12:30, 1 o'clock, 30 people walk in. And they're all carrying gifts for the staff, and we would have a blast. They'd set up all the tables. We'd get home at about 3:15 in the morning after having our grand slams, and it was glorious.
That sounds fun.
That was during the era of our child rearing where we would have to wake our kids.
Yeah.
By about 11.
Yeah. Say, how many years did you say you did that then?
We did that for about 10 years.
Wow. That's fun.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. So we've got Christmas down, we got Christmas Eve down, and now we're having a special episode today. Breanne, set this up a little bit for us because we've got guests in the room here that are very exciting.
Yes, they're experiencing the heat in here as well. So hopefully they don't melt by the end. They'll just be glistening.
Are sweet, so they might melt.
They might, yes. But yeah, we have 2 special guests that normally are behind the scenes of things here at First Church, but we thought we'd bring them onto the podcast today and just get their insights and their wisdom to maybe some Christmas traditions. So sitting between us here, we have the lovely Deb Uitermarkt and Shalene Zylstra. So I think that these ladies here have lots of wisdom to share with us.
Well, yes. Good morning, Deb.
Good morning.
It's great to see you. And you have a son, Tyler, who I asked you already. Did Tyler leave for school today wearing short pants?
He was definitely wearing shorts for school today. Yes.
Yes. He has no need for pants because
Brave
if it's, 3 degrees outside with the wind chill, what could possibly get cold? Anyway, that's quite a strong guy that he's got. And good morning, Shalene.
Good morning, Pastor Bob.
And all your kids got off to school well this morning?
They did. They were excited for a short day.
And both of these ladies have children in college, which is amazing to know that they could possibly be that old. But Deb, is Morgan home?
Morgan came home on Wednesday, and Ashley will come home tonight.
Very exciting. And Lydia's home?
Lydia's came home Tuesday afternoon. Yep.
Yes.
And what about Aiden?
And Aiden's been home since last week, Tuesday.
Right.
So nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you've got a full house then and an exciting house. And is everybody well in all of your houses?
Mostly.
I hear
As of
there's
right
a
now.
lot of things going around. And usually the only time of the year I may get sick is this time of the year. So I'm walking cautiously. When I hear a sneeze, I jump into a hole. And so let's all stay well.
Absolutely. Well, ladies, can we maybe start with maybe what Christmas means to you? Maybe Shalene, would you like to go first?
Sure. Well, for us, and I think a lot of people, hopefully, is just celebrating the birth of Jesus, and along with that, spending time with family. And
Yeah. Wonderful. It's good. Deb?
Yeah, and I think Pastor Bob challenged us a few weeks ago at a staff meeting to think of Christmas from a new way this year. And so I've just been focusing on what the second coming is going to look like too, a little bit more than just the morning of Christmas when Jesus was a baby. So.
Yeah. Because as we think of the Advent, it's the anticipation, right, of the coming. And so, great. Brownie points for Deb for remembering staff.
Yes, exactly.
Write that one down. So I just have I have lists of like favorites for you ladies. I think that would be fun. So let's start with maybe what is your favorite family tradition? And then if you want to follow it up with your individual favorite tradition. So maybe we'll start with Deb this time.
Sure. My favorite family tradition is that we have sent out a photo Christmas card of our family since our kids were little, and we hang all of those on our staircase every year. So it's really fun to look at all the photos as our family has grown and changed. And
that's neat.
So that's one of our favorite traditions. The kids look back on it because they don't remember the times when they were 1 or 2 or whatever, but it's fun to look at those.
Do you have an individual favorite thing that you like to do personally?
Me personally, it's probably just the candlelight service here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice. I agree. It is beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So what's your family favorite?
I think one of our favorites is every year in the kids' stockings, which our stockings, we don't really emphasize Santa, but just something fun to do. They get an ornament each year. So it's fun at Christmas time to decorate our tree with all those ornaments.
Oh, I like that.
Try and remember whose is whose. That's the challenge.
Yes. Is that part of the fun, the tradition?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. If whoever helps.
Right.
You know,
of course.
not everyone is
home
always
to do
enjoying or enjoys putting up the Christmas tree maybe. But,
sure. And then do you have a personal favorite outside of that? Or?
Well, I was kind of same as Deb, the Christmas Eve service is just a joyful time to be together and remembering the reason that Jesus came to earth and just beautiful music and
Well, you guys are an intricate part of the service, so I thank you for all the efforts that you put into it.
You know, I'm kind of interested, Breanne, in the midst of this, because when I hear that, you know, you're setting up Christmas trees and stuff like that, do you all, is that a family project for you, or does somebody dominate kind of in that Christmas decoration, Christmas tree specifically? How about you, Deb?
Well, at our house, we have a 12-foot Christmas tree, so it is definitely a family affair. Tyler and Brad are the tall ones in our family, obviously, so they're helping with that. Morgan is definitely my decorator, but maybe not so much with the tree. So I didn't answer your question. I'm sorry.
No, I think that's very good. I know Morgan is a decorator. There's times I thought I would rent her and give her to Patty as a Christmas gift. And how about you, Breanne? Do you all do it together? Is that a family thing?
It is. It used to not be when my kids were younger. I used to kind of help and do most of it. Steven is not in love with decorating the Christmas tree. He likes it when it's done. So I usually take the lead, but now my kids take the lead and that's kind of fun. They like to fluff and apply things. And then after they've gone to bed, I take the breakables from the bottom and move them to the top. It's a wonderful balance.
Very good. How about you, Shalene?
I would say maybe part of the family. Not everybody enjoys it. Aiden definitely helps put up the Christmas tree, which, fun fact about our Christmas tree, it's really old. It was Kyle's great grandparents' Christmas tree.
Wow.
That's neat.
And so,
did they cut it down on their farm?
No, it's fake.
Oh, it's fake.
But he usually helps with that part. And then everybody else who is around and wants to will help put the ornaments on.
Okay,
But,
gotcha.
nice,
Good
very
deal.
nice.
Good deal.
I also enjoy the handmade ones that you were talking about.
Yes.
Trying to figure out who's this who's, but I've gotten better at labeling them. But Ellery is convinced the ones of Adelaide at the same age are hers. So there's a lot of argument that does take place over that.
Yeah.
Even though
I appreciate you saying this too. I mean, so much of Christmas is a story. It's a story of our families. And, all of our ornaments on our tree, I don't know what yours are like. We've never bought an ornament. All of our ornaments were things that were given like when our kids were born. So baby's first Christmas. I have ornaments still on the tree from my first year of teaching when kids brought me ornaments.
Yeah.
And so every year when we pull these out, it's just that tells a story kind of your whole life with your family.
We picked up a tradition from Stephen's sister, actually. She had started collecting Christmas ornaments on vacations that they went on so that as they pulled them out every year, they could talk about the memories. So we just adopted that here in the last couple of years, and that's been fun. The kids now, when we are out shopping, they often spot a Christmas ornament, and they love getting to put it on the tree and like, remember when, Mom? Mm-hmm. And so that's been fun. So I hope that continues for years. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll chime in. We also have a lot of personalized ornaments, do the same thing, and we fill our 12-foot tree with all of those ornaments.
Awesome.
But it's really fun, too, to see, like, you know, people that are saints in the church. And Donna Millie Meyer gave Ashley this when she was born, or
nice.
Grandma Millie gave us this, or, you know, things like that. So there's a lot of fun ones and a lot of memories when we put our ornaments on. And we always do it Thanksgiving night. That's when we do our Christmas tree. So
yeah. Do you guys have like regular routines? Speaking of which, so you do yours Thanksgiving. Do you have a regular routine, Shalene?
We wait till after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
This year it was a little bit later, but usually I don't like to do it before Thanksgiving.
Okay. So. Yeah. You like to give Thanksgiving its own space.
Exactly.
I try to do that weekend too, just because then it's up.
Exactly.
I love the warm twinkling lights, and we leave our lights on. So our tree, and I don't know, I don't really pay attention to the electric bill with this, but I leave our lights on all day, all night. Like I just leave the tree glowing. It's my favorite.
Nice. It's really beautiful. And I'm just going to chime in. When Michael Melody walks into church, if the lights are not on with one of the Christmas trees, he goes, uh-oh.
Oh, that's so cute.
That's so cute.
You just have Miss Amanda press the remote and it'll pop on for him. It'll be great.
I think right now our tree is half lit because some of our lights went out, and I have not investigated which one needs to be.
That is always the tricky thing.
No, I don't really have anything to add to that. Christmas trees have been a little bit of a nightmare in our house since our children have grown up, because Patty had the boys well trained to decorate. She was never able to train me for that. So basically it's if I'm allowed to help, I'm usually just allowed to bring the tree up. And then do you have something else to do? That's usually the question that follows. And but I do remember one time when I came to Pella, and I'm not going to reveal where I bought this, but we had a fake tree for many years. It was old. It was ready to be gone. So I think we gave it to the thrift store before we came here from California. I'm going to be in Pella, Iowa. We're going to buy a nice new tree. So I went to a local establishment. I just wanted a really good tree. Wanted the smell of the pine in my house. Are these needles going to? This is a fine tree. Well, those needles came off so fast, it was remarkable. And my cat got into that tree and went crazy. And it was so nuts that one night I got up at 2 a.m. because there was needles all over the floor and the cat was in it. I took all the ornaments off in about 25 minutes. I pulled that tree out the front door. This was about December 18th. And I threw it on the side of the house. I was in bed with my iPad and I ordered a new tree from Amazon.
Oh, dear.
Well, Patty got up in the morning. She says, "Where's the tree?" I said, "I don't know." But I said, "A new one's coming tomorrow." That's why I'm banned from the tree.
Oh, I've heard so many stories about people and trees and cats. It's just wild.
Well, Pastor Bob, if you feel left out, I'm sure that Breanne would allow you to help decorate the trees here when we do deck the hall.
Absolutely.
If you're feeling left out.
We like
I'm
it.
just telling you.
Many
you
hands.
don't want me.
Many hands make light work.
Yeah, you don't want me.
We got to set our record next year.
That's
to
right.
Be done sooner.
Exactly. That's my challenge to the crew, and they'll do it too. Okay, so I love hearing all these warm traditions about Christmas, and both of you gals, I've been blessed by meals from you as having children. So I know that you like food. And so what are some fun, like maybe food traditions that each of your families have? Who would like to go first? Deb, Shalene?
Go for it, Deb.
Okay.
All right. So on Christmas Eve, each person in our family gets to choose their favorite appetizer.
Okay.
And that's what we have. And one of the favorites that everybody is like, well, I don't know if I want to choose this or if I'll see if somebody else chooses it, but I make some crescent roll sausage roll-ups. So they have sausage, cream cheese, mushroom, onion stuff, roll it up, bake it, and it's one of their favorites.
Nice.
Everybody likes that one. So it's always kind of a challenge to see who's going to pick that. And then everybody else gets to pick their favorite appetizer.
Okay.
Just depends.
So it's different than each year. It's not consistent meal. They just get to pick their favorites.
Eggnog and then apple cider with red hots.
Really?
Is what we have for beverages. And then the sausage crescent roll things. And then, it's different, a little different every year, but an appetizer.
I like it. Okay. Shalene, what do you guys do?
Well, in the past few years, we've done usually Christmas Eve, but we'll probably do it Christmas Day, is chicken cordon bleu and creamy mashed potatoes. And I cheat with my chicken cordon bleu, though. It's just frozen, but my kids love it. And yeah, it's easy, especially at Christmas Eve when you're busy getting here for choir practice and stuff and trying to get kids to bed at a decent time. But yeah, so it's not a hard tradition, but that's kind of one thing that we have been doing. And it kind of depends on when we're getting together with other family too, of when we have it. So
sure. Yeah. So has that been hard over the years to keep traditions in your families? As you were just talking about, you know, you consistent on the Christmas Eve, but
right. I think for us, it has been, one thing I was thinking about, sometimes we would even do our own family Christmas, like the week before Christmas, because when our grandparents were still living, which, you know, was great, but we'd have stuff almost every night for a week or a couple of times in a day or something. And it just got to be really busy, but we wanted that time to just pause and enjoy time together as a family too, to open gifts. So,
neat.
Yeah, it is kind of hard when you're working around other people's schedules to be like, yep, for sure. We're doing that Christmas Eve. But like this year, we'll just adjust a little bit. So
awesome.
It's good.
And how about you, Deb? Has things changed and harder to keep traditions?
Yeah. Well, so my family's in Wisconsin and Minnesota. And so we do rarely get together on Christmas or even Christmas Eve. So it's usually later or earlier. So that helps. We don't have as much going on here, but we typically have done Christmas Eve with just our household. Okay. And then Christmas morning, we get up and relax. And then Christmas Day is usually with Brad's family. So.
Okay. Very nice. So it sounds quiet and relaxing.
Yeah.
Very nice.
It's gotten quieter over the years because, well, Ashley's always been a theatrical person.
Sure.
And so they always put on a play for us on Christmas Eve too.
That
she would direct. So
that she would direct. Is she still doing that? And even in her college days here?
No.
No? Should bring that up with her.
Okay.
Maybe she could help out.
If she had some more characters, willing characters.
I'm sure she
there
would be.
go.
My kids would definitely sign up.
Tyler's not as willing anymore.
Oh, really? Imagine that. So speaking of that, what are some things that you guys do to try to keep the focus of Advent on Jesus?
I went first last time.
Okay, it's my turn. One thing that, well, we didn't do very well this year, but we have a countdown calendar that you can move the snowman, you know, just one of those traditional countdowns. But I had found probably on Pinterest Bible verses for each day that were around the Christmas story. So, and countdown to Advent, or the 25 days. And so that was something that we try to keep, going, and just each day read the Bible verse at supper time or whenever everybody was around. And
does anybody fight over who gets to like flip the card, or what is it?
Yes.
Is it like a card?
To either grab, you know, first you take out the card, but then also is somebody else going to read the Bible passage too? So yeah, of course you had to take turns.
Right.
Yeah.
Good. What about you, Deb?
So we've morphed over the years. Like when our kids were younger, Sandy Schaefer got them this wonderful Fisher Price nativity. And, you know, they told the story with that every day. Also, Camp Agape is what the little kids did here on Wednesdays. And they created an ornament every week for the Jesse tree. And so then we did the Jesse tree, which was wonderful. And it was ornaments made by our kids that we hung up. And that was just so fun. We haven't done the Jesse tree in a few years, but when they were younger, that was wonderful. We've also looked at the meaning of different symbols and how they originated. So, you know, the candy cane, we've probably all heard, but the wreath, the white lights are pure. You know, so we've done the different symbols throughout the years. This year, since most of my kids are not home when we're around the table, we haven't done as much. I myself have now been reading my Advent book by myself. So,
well, you've continued, right?
Yes.
And hopefully they start their own traditions.
Correct.
And keeping that the center. Just thinking about when you mentioned the Fisher Price set.
Yes.
I had someone recommend that to me as well, because I had this really pretty nativity set, the breakable kind, right? And they had recommended getting the Fisher Price one because the kids would play with it and you'd act out the scene. And so I have now done that. I've done away with my pretty one. I mean, I can still set it up high, but yeah, I love seeing how the kids move it and play with it. I have a cute video of Ellery because it plays music. of her making up her own words to the song. But it was all about Jesus, and it was adorable just to watch her play with that. Yeah. So,
yeah, I have several nativity sets around my house. One of them my brother hand carved, so that's really special to me.
That is special. Yeah, that's very neat. Yeah, like those things are neat too to pass down.
Yes.
With that. Thinking of that, is there traditions that you guys have maintained that have been maybe passed down from your parents?
The individualized ornaments on the tree were passed down from my parents. A lot of people do the themed trees, but my parents always had given us an ornament every year. And we started that when our kids were younger. We no longer give one every year, but if we find something that really represents what they've done, we do that. But just the fact that we put those on our tree every year, that's kind of come from my parents.
So it's a neat time just to pause and reflect. And
yes.
That's neat. I like that. Awesome. What about you, Shalene? Can you think of something?
I don't know if there's really anything specific, but, just one thing that when I was thinking about it and talking with the kids, just really spending the time with family too, and making sure that we make time for that.
I like that. Yeah. You guys both had mentioned kind of an opportunity to like read scripture and like you take time with devotional. Do you guys remember maybe the devotionals that you use that could be a resource for someone?
So mine was what I mentioned with the kids. I just found on Pinterest, and then it just had like, different parts of Isaiah, and then going Luke, and just different ones each day. Or there's one for each day, but it's not just from the book of Isaiah. All those days.
No,
Does that make sense? Yeah.
Good. Do you remember what yours is, Deb? I can't.
Yeah. Well, and I was thinking about the Jesse tree in particular, and the book is green and gold. I was going to grab it this morning and I forgot, but it's a book that Sandy Vincenus led a study on for parents many years ago. And at that time we had an 11 o'clock Sunday school for all our kids, and I taught every week. So Brad participated in the class. And then when we did the Jesse tree, we used that book as our guide because there was a portion in there that talked about that. I can't think of any others off the top of my head. We tried not to do the same one every year. Beyond that, our kids kind of got bored if we did the same thing again.
Okay.
Even though they don't really notice, but
I know I try to spice it up every year too. Yeah. I don't really know, but they do like the traditions. I kind of have a merge of both of yours. I have cards hung on my wall that are like a countdown, but it's the story from like Genesis through, and it's just each day, and they read the scripture. Nice. And they're on Johnny on the spot every morning. They got that thing flipped over. And so I would like to pause more and just reflect on it. But in the busyness of my little, sometimes that's harder.
Right.
One thing they've enjoyed, I wouldn't say this is really a devotional, but it's a story for Advent. It's actually a series. And this particular one we started with was called Jotham's Journey. A lot of people know this particular one, but it's reading every day. So the historical fiction of the Christmas story. And so each day you would read something and they were just enthralled by it. And the other, I think there's 3 more books. So you read like a different one each year and the stories overlap. So they are familiar with some of the characters, but each one takes a lead from a different perspective of the Christmas story. And this has been fun. And then at the end of each one, it reflects the reason for the season. Nice. So it's fun. It's an old one. I don't even know how to say the guy's name. It's Arnold Ytreeide, Ytreeide. I know if anyone's interested, I can show it to him, but that's one that we've done. So you both had mentioned that Christmas Eve is one of your favorite traditions, like being here on church, which I'd say the candlelight. Yeah. Every time I tell somebody that we actually do real candles, they're like, ooh, like they almost want to like throw everything out the window that they may have been doing and come here because they want the real candles. There's just something about the real candles. And thankfully we still do it regardless of the risk.
There are those that wax and wane over it, but we still do it.
Which it's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
We turn out the lights and sing Silent Night. I mean, that is awesome. So as I was thinking through when you guys had said about that being your favorite tradition as a family is, what would be your favorite Christmas hymn or carol? Which one would like to go first? I know what Pastor Bob is just chomping on the bed. I bet he can whip one out.
To sing all together, I love Joy to the World, but I also like to listen to Breath of Heaven. That was always sung by Amy Grant. So that's one of my favorites.
Yes, that's a good one. I forgot about that. Deb, can you think of anything top of your head?
Oh, I just love Christmas music in general.
Okay. Just on repeat.
Yes, exactly. But Joy to the World, Unspeakable Joy, that version is one of my favorites now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's neat. You have the smaller ones, the ones that, you have us sing them on Sunday mornings as the hymns. I just love going back to those traditional ones that we sing every year. And then we add on to the ones that have, I don't know, kind of morphed and changed. Mm-hmm. Pastor Bob, you love music. What's yours?
Deck the Halls.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. I do love music a lot, and all parts about Christmas music. I mean, my sister is really a fanatic. She'll start listening to Christmas music in September, which I think should be illegal. But so when I'm at church, I love "Hark the Herald Angels Sing." I just love just rich theology. It's a fun song to sing. So that's probably my favorite carol to sing in church. But I have a whole almost shoebox full of Christmas CDs in my office, of which I could never listen to. I never get a chance to go through them all, so I'll probably listen to them in January a little bit.
Okay.
But I do. I love one of my favorite CDs. There's Christmas with the Muppets. and because we've always listened to that when the kids were growing up, and so the 12 Days of Christmas is just hilarious on there.
Absolutely.
And so that brings me back to memories with our kids doing that. And then Michael W. Smith has 3 Christmas albums out, and I love, love, love every one of them.
Wow.
And I'll just blast them sometimes obnoxiously in my office because they're just so good and so triumphant. And music has always been a big part of our tradition. We used to always go up to Azusa Pacific University at Christmas time to hear their concerts. And so how do you make it through Christmas without having music fill us up? So.
Yeah, I do appreciate that about you and your love for music, because you've brought that into the church. It's fun. You pop in here often and you're humming, whistling, or singing something. And it's always fun to enter the church and hear that happening because your voice carries.
It's really Amanda. They just blame it on me.
Yes.
Right.
And if it's not you, your speaker is doing it from your office. So, one of the traditions we all have is giving gifts to those that we, care about and that sort of thing. So I thought it might be fun if you guys could reflect on sharing maybe a favorite or a least favorite gift, if you want, over the years. Who would like? Deb, you look ready?
Sure. So my least favorite is when my aunt, this is back in the day when you would save UPC symbols and you would send in and get free gifts. And my aunt got a pair of pajamas that my mom and I needed to share when I was in middle school. So that's not exactly something you want to be sharing with your mother when you're in middle school. And then they were free. So we had a logo on them as well.
Perfect.
Not exactly my favorite.
Yes.
But my favorite was probably when Brad gifted me with diamond earrings for Christmas. We were not yet engaged.
Beautiful.
And I was like, oh, that means that he's sticking around. And then we were engaged a week later. So that was great.
Brad with the excellent gifts.
Yes.
That's fun. All right, Shalene, do you have some fun ones to share?
I feel like I've received some great gifts throughout the years, and probably one of my Kyle's a great gift giver and can be creative. And so one year, I think we were still dating. We were not married. I got a leather jacket and then a leather min, like your tool to put in my purse. So just something fun and creative, but not a leather jacket that I wouldn't just go out and pick out and buy. I
like
myself.
the tie. Very creative. Yeah. Kyle is that secret guy that, he comes up with some good ideas. He's pretty creative.
Yeah. And least favorite, I don't know. Nothing comes really screaming up in my mind right now. So sorry.
No,
I'm
that's
sure
okay.
there is, but
yeah. Well, we're trying something new this year, as I told you guys too, with gifts and stuff. Like we've done the gift thing, but now we're trying to do experiences with our kids because they seem to, bring those up and have conversations. And so we'll see on Christmas Day how that works
how
out
everyone
for us.
feels about not opening up a gift.
Exactly. But we'll see. But yeah, we've got some funny ones too. I think I was telling you guys before is my husband, it was both my favorite and least favorite at the same time because we were not yet engaged, but he had handmade, woodworked a valance. It was beautiful for a window in his house. And so like I said, we weren't married yet and he'd given me this gift, but his meaning behind it was that we were going to be married in his mind. And so, yeah, of course, then we had gotten engaged. But at the time I was like, so you gave me a gift for your house. But to this day, it's still a memory that sticks to my mind as kind of the both good and bad at the same time.
Were you able to move that into your new home?
We were not, unfortunately. Yeah. It was a sad thing for me to part with, but it was beautiful. We have lots of pictures of it. But he's made, since then, other beautiful things for me. So that's been nice.
I'm sure he has. Yeah.
And Pastor Bob gives really good gifts. Yeah.
I don't know where you heard that from.
Oh, well, what have you done over the years? Things that you have given or received?
Well, we always had a tradition in our family that we gave 3 gifts to our kids. You know, one gift that they needed, one gift that they wanted, and one gift that kind of was to grow them spiritually a little bit. And, you know, otherwise gift giving, we always felt in our home could get a little obnoxious. I mean, grandmas and grandpas were buying them. My kids were the only grandkids on either side. And so the only nephew and niece, well, we didn't have any girls, so there were no nieces. But anyway, so yeah, I think there were some meaningful gifts over the year. I remember our son was in Africa for almost a year after high school. And so I bought Patty this gigantic Africa book. You know, it's a coffee table book with all these pictures of Africa. And she looked at it and she almost teared up because her son was gone for Christmas in Africa. And I said, open it up, open it up, open it up. Because on the first page, it said I had tickets for her to go to Africa.
Wow.
And so that was nice. And so she got to go to Africa about a month later and was with him and went on a little safari together and all that. So, yeah, those things are fun. But I can't say that they come naturally to me. So, you know, every once in a while, you know, the blind squirrel gets an acorn and I figure out a good gift to give. And you know, now that we're older, it's like, okay, well, now let's just go on a trip. You know, we'll stop at Buc-ee's on the way and I'll get you a corn dog. And that's what Christmas turns out to be. But it's fun now to buy gifts for your grandkids.
Sure.
So that's a new experience for us.
Yeah. It's neat to hear like how all of your traditions have changed and how, you know, we can ebb and flow and we can grow but it's not the main reason of the season. It's just a reflect and focus back, which all of you do, which is really neat and an inspiration. So I thank you both for being on today.
Welcome.
I just think this was kind of a fun, relaxing, and as we just reflect on Christmas and slow down a little bit, and we have some good things planned this coming week for Christmas. So
I'm excited for those. Yes,
it's a busy time of year. I didn't ask any of you this, but do you guys put lights on your house outside every year?
We put lights on the trees outside.
Okay,
not on our house.
Okay, okay. How about you, Breanne? You live out in the middle of nowhere a little bit. Do you put anything on your house?
I do like garland over my doorway, and then I have a couple lit trees and wreaths. But Stephen does not like to get on our roof at our house. He will not do it. We used to in our old house, though. So the kids are a little sad. They would like to put lights on the tree, on our house, not just the trees.
And Shalene, you've got the little house on the prairie on the way out of town over there. Is it all lit up?
It is not. When we moved in, we had a tree transplanted there. So Kyle did like one strand on the tree, you know, like almost like a Charlie Brown tree. It was kind of funny, but it would be really neat to have it. But again, kind of same thing, like just
it's a little dangerous.
Exactly.
You know, when we lived in California and this was just plainly being spoiled, it was so nice putting up lights on your house because it was warm outside. And so we do a lot. When my sons got older, especially my oldest son, wanted to put lights everywhere. So lights are cheap. So every year we add more and more and more and more. And so, and we had a lot of well-lit houses. Matter of fact, one year he wanted to get one of these big blow-up snowmen, that you plug in. And he said, Dad, why would we waste time putting it on the front lawn where normal people put it? I said, well, where do you want to put it? He said, let's put it on the roof.
Oh, boy.
And I said, well, what makes you think it's going to stand up straight? Oh, Dad, it will. He knew it all then. And he was filled with ingenuity, of which I had none. I think we spent an hour up on that roof trying to get that stupid snowman to stand up straight. And all I can tell you is by the end of the evening, Patty, who was very reluctant for this plan in the first place, said, all right, can I go out and see it? And we said, no, it's in the trash.
Oh, no.
The snowman died a slow death. We both were frustrated and we threw it away, and we've never had a blow up since. But if you go by Jack Brockway's house from our church, there's about 73 of them out in the front of his lawn. So that always satisfies my blow up treasures. But I'm glad to see that you're not putting pressure on me to get stuff up outside, because putting it up in 20-degree weather is just sadness for me.
Do you put lights on your house?
I gave up putting lights on my house a few years ago. I had fallen off a ladder when I lived in Minnesota, and my wife just won't let me on that extension ladder anymore. And so that's okay. I mean, I have 3 broken rib memories from that. Normally we put them in our trees and put a nativity set up and this and that and the other thing. This year I didn't do anything because we're leaving right away. And I figured, why put them there?
Sure.
When nobody's going to turn it on while I'm gone, probably. Right. So, yeah, maybe next year. But I have to admit, it's a very frustrating thing. I don't have a lot of joy putting lights in our tree, getting poked. And then, of course, the joy of it all when you have them all lit. And then 2 nights later, there's a set that doesn't work.
Yes.
I mean, that's the epitome of frustration.
Yes.
So.
Absolutely. I appreciate those people that do.
Yes.
Forge on and persevere, and their houses are fun. I enjoy
there's
driving.
People who pay for it to be done now.
That's true. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's signs all over.
Yeah.
There's a neat place in Des Moines, too. That whole block apparently looks like gingerbread houses, is what I've heard. And
Beaverdale, probably.
Seems very crumby to me.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, hey, what a great time we've had today. Deb, thanks for coming. Shalene, thanks for coming. Breanne, thanks for having the happy homemaker decorating questions today.
You are so welcome.
I felt like I was on, one of the Hallmark Channel.
Yes.
For Christmas.
I'm glad I could
year.
fulfill that for today.
Yes, very well done. And we'll probably be back in a couple weeks, right?
So next week we will have Dr. Ron and Ruth Rietveld on.
How exciting is that?
Yes, as we reflect on another year, turn the page, just, Ruth's memories and reflections along with Ron's. And so, looking forward to having them on. And then, we turn the page to the new year.
2025, here we come.
And I misquoted. Next week will just be the Christmas Eve service for our podcast. But the week after on December 31st.
Breanne, I always believe whatever you say.
Okay, good.
The first time. Hey, everybody, don't forget about Sunday. We'll be worshiping at
9:30.
9:30. You want to be here. And then Christmas Eve, which is Tuesday, we're going to worship at
6 o'clock.
And make sure
PM.
you invite some friends because they're willing to say yes, especially if you invite them in. They'll hear the gospel. It'll be a good thing. Folks, have a great day and a great weekend.